All right, for this next part here, we'll talk specifically about identifying operations as either Part 91 general aviation or private carriage or common carriage. And there's an important flow chart here that really helps us understand what are the dynamics involved in making these decisions. Because again, you don't want the FAA to accuse you of an illegal air taxi operation. They do tend to give you a 6-month pilot suspension as well as a $10,000 fine per occurrence. So if you're familiar with the Hinman Group, right, they got hit with millions of dollars in fines for their illegal air taxi operations. But if we start up here and we ask the question, is the flight for hire? If the flight's not for hire, then we have to ask the next question, does a common purpose exist? We define that common purpose as the pilot's chosen the destination and the passenger has a reason to go along, right? Pro rata sharing of expenses is allowed on that. Now, if there's no common purpose, if you're just flying somebody from point A to point B, that puts you down into 135 operation. So the FAA would call that an illegal air taxi operation. Okay. Now, if the flight is for hire, okay, we have to ask some questions. Is it operated within a lease agreement? It's very important because we have to understand who's got operational control. This has huge ramifications on the qualifications needed for the flight. Operational control is these three questions. Who provides the air crew? Who maintains the aircraft? Who's responsible for maintenance, inspections, AD compliance? And who manages the flight details? Fuel. Who's paying for the fuel? Who's ordering fuel? Is there catering involved? Who's paying for catering? Rental cars. Who's organizing that, paying for that? If the lessee is doing all three of those, if they're providing the aircrew, maintaining the aircraft, and managing the flight details, they have operational control. They decide when the airplane flies or not flies. And therefore, it's operated for hire, but effectively as a corporate operation. That's what it amounts to. Now, if the lessor has any one of those, they have operational control. And that means they are operating under Part 135 operations, non-common carriage. That means they have to be certified. They have to have the commercial operating certificate in order for 135 operations to occur. Next one, if it's not under a lease agreement, is it under 119.1, Part E exemptions? You know, student instruction, training flights, ferry flights, aerial application, parachute jump operations, sightseeing. If it's operated under one of those, then it's under Part 91. Or if that doesn't apply, is it under fractional ownership? So 91 Part or subpart K. Or is this just a corporate or contract pilot operation? If none of those apply to the situation, then we ask the next question, is the pilot soliciting the service? In other words, holding out that they're a pilot and can transport you, or are they providing the aircraft? If the pilot provides the aircraft or is soliciting, that's holding out. And that is common carriage operation. Duration of the agreement. If it's a short-term duration, that's automatic common carriage. Okay. What if it's long-term? All right. then who or what is being transported? If it's the general public or their goods, that's common carriage. Whereas one or select few customers means it's a non-common carriage under Part 135 operations. So there we go. That. You have questions on that? Let's run through just a couple examples in a couple minutes that we have left. I'll read this one and then we'll start the timer. A woman called a transport operation inquiring about a flight to a nearby city. A flight instructor told her he could transport her in the smaller aircraft for the price of $380. That included the hourly rental of the aircraft, but no charge for his services. Verbal agreement and handshake secured the deal. What type of operation is this considered? All right, so very interesting situation. This was the subject of one of the quiz items on that. And it actually was determined by the FAA to be a common carriage operation there. So, but why was it common carriage? It was the flight for hire. Yes, because they shook on the handshake, right? For $380 cost, cover the aircraft rental. So it's being hired out. Okay. Is it operated within a lease agreement? It wasn't. It's not under Part 119 exemptions. It's not fractional ownership. It's not a corporate operation going on. Okay. This instructor provided the aircraft. He worked at this school as a, they had a transportation aircraft. They also had flight training aircraft. He provided a flight training aircraft for the rental fee. He provided the aircraft. That's the whole key to common carriage. Okay. Pilot held out his services. Right. So that was common carriage. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to wrap it up here. There's a few more scenarios. You'll be able to review them on your own in Top Hat when I'll assign that to you. But otherwise, if you got more questions, I'm here. You got a few assignments that will be opening up soon, and then an exam in 2 weeks. Okay, we'll catch you all later.
Yes. I know. Lunch.